I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. You are about to hear Poof by Lynn Nottage, directed by Seret Scott. It features Audra McDonald, Tonya Pinkins, and Keith Randolph Smith. It is the present. We are in a kitchen.
When I count to 10, I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Damn you to hell, Samuel! Samuel? Samuel? Where'd you go? Don't fool with me now. I'm not in the mood. Samuel, I didn't mean it really. I'll be good if you come back. Now come on now, dinner's waiting. Stop your foolishness and let's sit down. Don't be cross with me. Sure, I forgot to pick up your shirt for tomorrow. I can wash another. I'll do it right now. Right now, Sam. You hear me? Maybe I didn't ever intend to wash your shirt. Florence, honey, could you come on down for a moment? There's been a little accident. Quickly, please. Quickly, please. Quickly, please. Hey! I can't find Samuel. Only this pair of spectacles on the floor.
You all right? What happened? Smells like you burned something. Ooh, what in the devil is that over there?
Samuel. I think that pile of ashes over there is Samuel.
Oh, what has he done now?
No. It's him. The ashes. It's him.
Child, what's wrong with you? Did he finally drive you out your mind? I knew something was going to happen sooner or later.
Dial 911, Florence.
Why? You scaring me.
Dial 911. I think I killed him.
What?
I killed him. I killed Samuel.
Come again? He's dead?
Dead.
Oh, no, stop it. I don't have time for this. I am going back upstairs. You know how Samuel hates to find me here when he gets home. You're not going to get me this time. Y'all can have your little joke. I'm not part of it.
Did you really do it this time? I don't know how or why it happened. It just did.
Why are you whispering?
I don't want to talk too loud. Something else is liable to disappear.
Where's his body?
There.
Huh?
You burned him?
I don't know.
I think so.
Well, either you did or you didn't. What you mean? You're talking murder, Loureen, not oven settings.
You think I'm playing?
Well, how many times have I heard you talk about being rid of him? How many times have we sat at this table and laughed about the many ways you could do it? And how many times have you done it? None.
Look here. A pair of cheap spectacles. Now that's all that's left. And you know how much I hate these. You ever seen him without them? No. He counted to 4 and poof, disappeared. I swear to God.
Now don't bring the Lord into this just yet. Sit down now. What you got to sip on?
I don't know whether to have a stiff shot of scotch or a glass of champagne. But all I got is a sherry. It's got to do.
Okay. Well, pour me a little bit more than that.
He was...
Take your time.
He was standing there. He exploded.
Did that mother hit you again?
No, he exploded. Boom! Right in front of me. He was shouting like he does, being all colored, and then he raised up his big crusty hand to hit me, and poof, he was gone. I barely got the words out, and I'm looking down at a pile of ash.
Oh, that's good. Pour me a little bit more. Child, I'll give you this. In terms of color, you've matched my husband Edgar, the story king. He came in at 6 Sunday morning talking about he hit someone with his car and had to spend all night trying to outrun the police. I felt sorry for him. Turns out he was playing poker with his paycheck, no less. You don't want to know how I found out, but I did.
You think I'm lying?
I certainly hope so, Loureen, for your sake and my heart's.
Samuel always said if I raised my voice, something horrible would happen. And it did. I'm a witch. The devil's spawn.
You've been watching too much television.
Never seen anything like this on television. I wish I had, then I'd know what to do. There's no question. I'm a witch.
Child, don't tell me you've been messing with them mojo women again. What did I tell you? Will you sit down now?
He's not coming back. Oh no, how could he? It would be a miracle. 2 in one day. Oh, I could be canonized. Worse yet, he could be. All that needs to happen is for my palms to bleed, and I'll be eternally remembered as Saint Loureen, the patron of battered wives. And women from across the country will make pilgrimages to me, laying pies and pot roast at my feet and asking the good saint to make their husbands turn to dust. How often does a man like Samuel get damned to hell and go?
You smoking crack?
Do I look like I am?
Hell, I seen old biddies coming out to crack houses talking about they were doing church work.
Florence, please be helpful. I'm very close to the edge. I don't know what to do next. What do I do? Do I sweep him up? Do I call the police? Do I? Oh God!
You gonna let it ring?
No. But what if it's his mother? She knows.
Oh.
Whew. I should be mourning. I should be praying.
Huh?
I should be thinking of the burial, but all that keeps popping into my mind is what I will wear on television when I share my horrible and wonderful story with the studio audience. He made me a killer. Florence, do you remember what a gentle child I was?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a killer. I'm a killer. I'm a killer. I'm a killer.
Now, I wouldn't throw that word about too lightly, even in jest. Talk like that gets around.
You think they'll lock me up? A few misplaced words and I'll probably get the death penalty. Isn't that what they do with women like me? Murderesses?
Folks have done time for less.
Thank you. Just what I need to hear.
Well, what do you expect, that I was going to throw up my arms and congratulate you? Why'd you have to go and lose your mind at this time of day? Well, I got a pot of rice on the stove and Edgar's about to walk in the door and wonder where his damn food is. Oh, and he's going to start in on me about all the nothing I've been doing during the day and why I can't work. And then he'll mention how clean you keep your home. And I don't know how I'm going to look at him in the eye without...
I'm sorry, Florence. Really, I don't know what I done, but it done.
You swear on your right tit?
I swear on both of them.
Both your breasts, Loureen? You know what will happen if you're lying? Oh, both your breasts, Loureen?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet, sweet Jesus. He must have done something truly terrible.
No more than usual. I just couldn't take being hit one more time.
You've taken 1,000 blows from that man. Couldn't you have turned the cheek and waited? I'd have helped you pack, like we talked about.
A pile of ash. I could blow on him and he'd just disappear across the linoleum. Just like that. Should I be feeling remorse or regret or some other R word? I'm strangely jubilant, like on prom night when Samuel and I first made love. That's the feeling.
Is it?
Oh, it's like a ton of bricks has been lifted from my shoulders, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You selfish witch.
What?
We made a pact.
I know.
You've broken it. We agreed that when things got real bad for both of us, together. Do I have to go back upstairs to that? What next?
I thought you'd tell me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, now you got me, Loureen. I'm truly at a loss for words.
Everybody always told me, keep your place, Loureen.
Mm-hmm.
My place. That silent spot on the couch with a wine cooler in my hand and a pleasant smile that warmed the heart.
Mm-hmm.
All this time I didn't know why he was so afraid for me to say anything, to speak up. Poof! I never been by myself. Except them 2 weeks when he won the office pool and went off to Reno with his cousin Mitchell. Wouldn't tell me where he was going till I got the postcard with the cowboy smoking 100 cigarettes. Didn't Sonny Larkin look good last night at Caroline's? He looked good, didn't he?
So deep. Can I sit here?
No, don't sit there.
What?
Well, you're sitting on Samuel's jacket. That's his favorite jacket. He's gonna kill me if it gets wrinkled. Get up. Come on.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry. There, look at that. Never cleans out his pockets.
Well, what's that?
A ticket stub. And he said he didn't go to the movies last night. Working late. Picture of his motorcycle, social security card, driver's license. Oh, and look at that, from our wedding.
Oh.
I looked good, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
There were some good things.
What are you doing?
I'm throwing it away. Can you believe it? Out of my mouth, those words made him disappear. All these years and just words, Florence. That's all they were.
I'm afraid I won't ever get those words out. I'll start resenting you, honey. I'm afraid won't anything change for me.
I've been to that place.
Yeah. But now I wish I could relax those old lines on my forehead for a minute, maybe. Edgar has never done me the way Samuel did you. But he sure took the better part of my life.
Not yet, Florence.
Yeah. I have the children to think of, right?
You can think up 100 things before...
Then come upstairs with me. We'll wait together for Edgar, and then you can spit out the words and then...
I can't do that.
Yes, you can. Come on now. Well, I guess my mornings are not going to be any different.
If you can say that for certain, then I guess they won't be. I couldn't say that.
But you got a broom and a dustpan, and you don't need anything more than that. He was a bastard, and nobody will care that he's gone.
Phone's gonna start ringing soon. People start asking soon, and they'll care.
What's your crime? Speaking your mind?
Maybe I should mail him to his mother. Well, I owe her that. I feel bad for her. She didn't understand how it was. I can't just throw him away and pretend like it didn't happen. Can I?
I didn't see anything but a pile of ash. As far as I know, you got a little careless and burned a chicken.
He was always threatening not to come back.
I heard him.
It would have been me eventually.
Yes.
I should call the police or someone.
Why? What you gonna tell them? About all those times they refused to help? About all those nights you slept in my bed because you were afraid to stay down here? About the time he nearly took out your eye because you flipped the television channel?
No.
You got it, girl.
Goodbye to the fatty meats and salty food. Goodbye to the bourbon and the bologna sandwiches. Goodbye to the smell of his feet, his breath, his bowel movement. Goodbye.
Why you sniffing those ashes?
Samuel? Just checking.
Goodbye, Samuel.
I'll let the police know he's missing tomorrow.
Why not the next day?
Chicken's warming in the oven. You're welcome to stay.
Child, I got a pot of rice on the stove. Kids are probably acting out in Edgar. Well, listen, I'll stop by tomorrow.
For dinner?
Edgar wouldn't stand for that. Cards, maybe.
Cards.
What you gonna do with that pile of ashes?
Sweep 'em under the rug, honey.
Ah!
You just heard Poof by Lynn Nottage, directed by Seret Scott. It featured Keith Randolph Smith as Samuel, Tonya Pinkins as Florence, and Audra McDonald as Loureen. We have Lynn Nottage, the author of Poof, here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Poof premiered in Kentucky at Actors Theater of Louisville in 1993. What's it like revisiting it 20 years, a Pulitzer Prize, and multiple awards later?
Well, it's sort of wonderful because Poof is a very special play to me. It was the first play that I wrote after I had decided that I was never going to write another play ever again.
So it's not true that it was your first play?
It was not my first play. It was my first professionally produced play, and it was certainly the first play that I wrote after I considered coming out of retirement. And it's sort of a long story. I don't know whether you have time, but I will tell it anyway. After I graduated from the Yale School of Drama, where I went for playwriting, I was feeling as though playwriting was a very decadent thing. And I'd gone from first grade through to graduate school without having any break, and I decided that I wanted to do something more substantive. And immediately after graduate school, I went to work for Amnesty International. I sold my computer, decided that I was going to make a life in human rights. I was going to change the world. And after being there for 3 years, I had this experience, which was transformative and was really what sort of lifted me out of the human rights world and back into the creative world. This woman named Donna Ferrado, who's a brilliant photographer, late one evening had brought in some images that she had taken at a women's shelter for women who had been battered. And there were images that she captured the moment the women entered through the door. And I went through all of these rather stunning, very disturbing, very emotional photographs, and I had a strong visceral response. And I didn't know what to do with those emotions because I felt like I can't do anything for these women. But after she left, I went into my office, I closed my door, sort of cleared all of the piles of papers that had been accumulated, and I wrote a play, and that play was Poof.
In the published edition of your play, there is an author's note prior to the dialogue in which you write, nearly half the women on death row in the United States were convicted of killing abusive husbands. So this notion of domestic abuse came after these photographs.
Yeah, the photographs were images of women who had been battered by their husbands, who were seeking refuge and were fleeing. And so I was really interested in that moment of liberation when a woman finally is capable of finding her voice and saying, no more. I'm going to reclaim my life.
So given that you were working for Amnesty International and that there are, yes, many professions that affect change and highlight social inequities, you discovered that you could, in fact, affect more change writing plays?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know that I could affect more change, but I certainly could affect some change. I had, while I was working, one of my frustrations is that I kept sort of hitting my head up against a wall. It's like no matter how hard we worked, it seemed as though nothing was getting better. And I thought, well, why can't I marry my passion with my purpose? And my passion was writing, is finding creative ways to tell stories that have resonance, beyond sort of my own little family and my own little circle. And so I think in many ways I discovered with Poof that I could write a play that could speak universally to what women were experiencing in ways that I couldn't do with a press release when I was at Amnesty International, because very often I was dependent on whether a news outlet would pick up that press release. And sometimes when they did, they'd only pick up the statistics, but it really wouldn't give a sense of what was the struggle behind that number.
Mm-hmm. And that visceral feeling.
That visceral, yes.
How do you know the women in Poof, for example? I mean, you might have seen those photographs, but is there a connection to those women other than observation?
At the time when I wrote the play, I didn't know many women who had been abused. But since writing that play, I've realized that I did know many women that were abused.
That came forth,
That came forth. And also as I get older, as I get older and have encountered many more people in my life, I discovered that they're friends of mine who were reluctant when they were younger to speak out. And in many respects, Poof is about that ability for a woman to finally use her voice to say no. And I think it's really hard for a lot of young women who blame themselves when they're being abused and sort of suffer in silence. I have a very dear friend who said she was abused on a regular basis by her husband, but she felt ashamed to say anything because she thought somehow she had failed.
Shame is powerful. Poof deals with domestic violence, clearly. Mm-hmm. How has its subject been received nationally versus internationally?
Poof has had a really interesting journey. Immediately after it premiered at the Actors Theater of Louisville, it was picked up by other theaters. And I think for a period of time, it was their most produced one-act play across the country that came out of that festival. I don't know that that's true anymore. But what's more interesting to me is the international journey that the play has made. It was seized upon in many Latin American countries and in Asia, surprisingly. And then most recently, I had an encounter with an actor who had been in Tehran. And he said he'd seen Poof performed by two of Iran's foremost female actresses, and they did it without purdah. They were unveiled, and it caused this tremendous sensation. And I think in many ways it's done because it's universal. I mean, women throughout the world are suffering from domestic abuse. Women throughout the world are suffering in silence. And I think that this speaks very loudly to them.
It's accessible.
It is very accessible. And I think more than it being accessible, I think it's funny. And I think that humor can disarm people in ways to get them to listen more deeply.
It felt a little to me almost like Ethel and Lucy at some level. I mean, not to diminish it in any way, but that tight friendship and the humor is terrific.
Well, it's interesting. I always wondered whether Lucy, when she closed the door, got a little smack from Ricky. You never know. We'll leave it alone.
I read, Lynn, that one of your plays, Intimate Apparel, is being made into an opera. Is that true?
That is indeed true. I'm in the process of finishing the libretto for Intimate Apparel, which was commissioned by the Met. The composer is Ricky Ian Gordon, and I'm very, very excited.
That's very, very exciting. What is involved in revisiting and adapting a play into an opera?
Well, for me, it's sort of lovely because it's a very intimate play. It was a play that I had written immediately after my mom died, and it was something that I had written for her. And so in revisiting it, I feel like I'm going home, that I'm sort of revisiting a really dear, wonderful old friend. And in some respects, I also get to sort of nip and tuck things that always bothered me and improve upon lines or take out lines.
Does the fame and attention and power to some extent that come with success, with your success as a playwright, make your life easier or harder?
Well, may I say that life as a playwright is never easy. It's not like being an actor who's recognizable and someone sees you on screen or sees you on stage. I mean, we really write in isolation, and very rarely does someone recognize you when you're walking down the street. And very rarely even does someone recognize you when you say your name, just because theater doesn't occupy the same space in our cultural landscape that, say, television or film does.
So no difference.
So, I mean, yeah, well, there are differences within the theater community, definitely, but I don't know in the world at large whether my life has changed significantly.
We've been speaking with Lynn Nottage, the author of Poof. It's been a delight and an honor to welcome you to Playing on Air. Thank you so much for staying and talking.
Well, thank you so much.
You've been listening to Playing on Air, great American short plays with great American actors. Theme and play music by Tom Cochan. Recording and sound design by John Kilgore. Associate producer, Michelle O'Brien. Literary and development management, Bonnie Antosh. Distributed by PRX, Public Radio Exchange. We invite you to visit our website at playingonair.org, where you can stream short plays and find information about our artists and plays. Join us on Facebook or Twitter, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. While you're there, leave us a review. We value your opinion. For Playing on Air, I'm your host, Claudia Catania. Thanks for listening.